the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Oh, fill my heart with song. And let me sing
World
forevermore.
Series analysis show with Abady, Warriors, and the jungle's finest, Zack Ashkenazi. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Happy to be on the show.
Yes, you were one win away from
Not being on the show.
Exactly.
I'm on too many shows.
Yes.
But it is what it is.
Let's start with the Warriors 13-0 smackdown to Cool Runnings. Like I said right on the spot, not shocking that you lost. Either team could win a game. Just shocking the score, 13-0, and you tell me the Warriors are the team with nothing. Would never have guessed that.
Definitely came for a shocker as us. I mean, we've played 16 games in the regular season. Up until that point, I guess, 14 in the regular season, 2 in the playoffs. And we haven't had that type of game. Even the games that we've got swept by Colt 45, down 5-0, came back 5-4. You know, games that one break here, one break there, could have went a different way. This game, you know, was close for a while. Had a feel of a game that was going to be tight throughout, through 3 innings. Maybe not the style we wanted to play. It looked like it was going to be a low-scoring game and just a tight game. And then, you know, one really, really bad inning. Probably could be the worst inning in playoff history. 13 batters to the plate, you know, from a 1-0 game with 1 out, nobody on, to 9-0.
9-0. And without a double play at the end of it, that inning could still be going. There was a double play in that inning, believe it or not, with 9-run scoring.
Crazy. Just shocking, obviously. Like you said, exactly, Norman. Just crazy the way it played out. Never would have guessed. If anything, you would have guessed a Warriors 13-0 win. You didn't see that coming.
Even 2 innings into the game, all right, the Warriors didn't score when they batted first. Okay, they're going to come up again. You didn't sense like, oh, Cool Runnings is now going to just dominate this game, but it out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
But you know what? As a player on the Warriors, in the second inning, first and second, nobody out, we don't score.
Yes,
and
with
then,
top of the order.
And then down 1-0, first and second, nobody out. That was the top of the order in the third inning. And, you know, we didn't score. And that was we didn't do that all year. If we got 9 and 10 on all season, it was a 5-run inning.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy because I was standing on the sideline with JT watching the game, and Ralph Cohen got on, and then
Gindy got on.
and then Isaac Gindy got on to start. JT and I looked at each other at the exact same time and said, "This is a 7-run inning."
Yep.
Right.
And then you blink and it's over.
And I think the out at the plate gave them momentum.
Yes.
And then, you know, a couple of tough decisions that, you know, as you know, a member of the Brain Trust, maybe we would have back. I don't know if Ralph responded to the intentional walk of Farka the right way. You know, it led off with an out, and then you can't walk DK there. You could say it a million times, but he walks DK.
Yeah.
Then he gives up a line drive to Pichotto off Sassen's glove. You know, tough play, not right to him by any stretch, but in his glove. You know, knee high. You think he makes the play. He doesn't make it. Second and third, Farka coming up 1 out. I think being the high-powered offense that we are, we have to say there, even if we're down 3-0, we're okay. Even if we're down 2-0, we're okay. We're going to score. Instead, I think we made a little bit of a panic move by saying, okay, let's put another runner on and try to get out of it with nothing, and El Saka will make out. But, you know, putting more runners on with the pitching situation that we had, you know, he walks Saka intention almost on 4 pitches, run scores, and, you know.
Z, what did you think at the time of that move?
Well,
second and third, Farka up, 1 out.
Well, I didn't like the walking because, like you said, you're powerful offense. You should be scared of no lead, especially 3 is nothing to you guys. And also with a guy like Hannon on the mound who, in his career, maybe not for the Warriors so far, I'm not too sure, but in his career he's had trouble finding the zone, and he loses the zone, and it happens quick. To put that guy on, it's not a guy that you can necessarily trust and say that, okay, we know he's not going to walk the next guy. It sort of puts the pressure on, and I didn't love it.
We called a team huddle, and we asked him, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to pitch to Farka. And then we said, okay, walk Farka. Let's go to Elsack.
Wow.
But I don't think that was the right move. I mean, not that, he just didn't handle it the right way. I'm saying it put him in a tough spot. It's not a spot that he wanted to be in, but he clearly just let it affect him. Like 2 batters later, he's like, why did we walk Farka?
Right.
I hear you. Once we walk Farka, though, you got to be flush it enough to say, get me an out. Let's get Elsack out. Let's get Gabe out. You can't let that, snowball into 4 uncompetitive pitches to Elsack and a walk.
I happen to still think the walk. Maybe I'm stubborn or stupid, but I think you do walk Farka
You set
there.
up forces. I mean,
I
the
think
truth
you set
is,
up the
we've
full
been-
ground.
if you
How
look
many
at-
times ground ball to third? How many times
But
we saw it in the World
we've been
Series?
seeing it so many times in this year's playoffs where I'm seeing a lot of guys being walked to load the bases when I disagree. I mean, sometimes it plays out well, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm seeing it more than ever to walk the guy. I don't know, you put a guy on so fast. It's softball. These guys can get themselves out.
Yeah.
I mean, Farka's phenomenal, but he could get out.
Also, it's the 3rd inning. It's not the 6th inning.
Yeah,
where
but
you
it's
need
not
to
a one-run
be. I
game.
think,
It's not-
but I think what pushed me and Farka was it just had that feeling like we weren't gonna get the big hit, which is I don't know if we were or weren't, but like we didn't come through,
Which pushed
when we
you
usually
and
do.
Saban, you mean?
And we were just like what do we lose by setting up a force? At the end of the day, with Farka up, you got to play him so deep and 4 across that it's automatically 1. We're thinking, Elsack could pop up to third, could hit a ground ball. At least everyone's in the infield. He could hit a ground ball and it could be 2.
Yep.
We're playing infield in. We're going to come home for 1. But he gets walked on 4 pitches. And then Gabe, who couldn't make out in our series, can't get a hit in the World Series.
Correct.
So, it's just,
just the way it plays out.
Just the way it plays out. No matter what, the defense didn't help. A couple of bad plays in the field. I didn't cover second base on a ball to Mocas. Thinking he was going to go to first, then he fired it to second, and neither me or Roland were on the bag.
Looking at the replay, the throw was offline. I thought if someone is covering, you have him out. I think the throw, if you're covering the base, sails away that way.
But
looking at the replay.
Also, when you're Mocas, when you're making that play and then spinning around.
Take the out.
No, for sure, take the out. But once you're spinning around, you're looking where the guy is, and you're throwing there as opposed to just throwing to the base.
The guy's got to be on the base, and then maybe he throws it there.
But I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because, Norman, you and I would be wrong to ask what was the Warriors thinking, and you spoke about the brain trust decision. What were the Warriors thinking batting first? I thought it's one of the worst decisions you could ever make because why, like Mo Haber said on the show last week, why are you giving them something to just get crazy about and to get out of the, even though they didn't answer with a score, but why you give, like, you're waking them up before they even got a chance to open their eyes.
Yeah, I don't know if that really cost us. I mean, looking back at it, in the 3rd inning, it's 1-0. I think the way we felt is we got to get a lead, and if we're batting more times than they are, we have more opportunities to get the lead. For our pitchers' sake, all year as a road team, I think we won 6 of our 8 games as the road team.
Wow.
So, we've been a better road team. In the playoff game, we won as a road team. So that would be our 7th win as a road team. And, the games that we've lost, we've just gone down. 8-1, 7, 5-0. And it's just, in a playoff game that's a 1 game or nothing, we said if we could get the lead, it puts pressure on them and it takes pressure off of us. Unfortunately, we let the opportunity squander. If we score 4 in that 3rd inning and we're up 4-1, I think it's a totally different game. And then as the road team, we're willing to get the tough
But you didn't score and you can't predict it, and where they might be sleepwalking and all of a sudden wake up in the 5th inning.
I mean,
they were up in
I
the
still think
first
they were
inning.
sleepwalking. We were hitting pop-ups to first base and we had bases loaded, It wasn't like we were crushing the ball. They made a ton of errors.
Oh my God.
And they're still making a ton of errors.
They are still,
I think, you called it out even before our series or maybe after game 1 and game 2. there's something up with this defense because the
Yeah.
first 6 to 8
It's
games,
the worst defense
it
I've
was
ever
great
seen. Was
defense.
games 1 and 2.
But then all of a sudden, it just, since the playoffs started, it doesn't seem like it's 50-50 on plays. Everybody, whether it's Mickey, Leo, Gabe, Henry, the outfield, they're not
Yeah.
making plays, and that's hurting Edmond a lot.
Yeah,
Listen,
that's-
one of the reasons offense was up this year was because we played on racetrack with the wind and thick dirt, and then we played on Memorial, and then 1 week the bases, and then the field here was so dry. These last 2 games, I don't want to go to the World Series just yet. I'm telling you, there was not one bad bounce in 14 innings, not one bad bounce, and these guys couldn't make a play.
Crazy.
And the ball doesn't bounce when it's a high pop to first base
Yeah, the
either.
whole-
I'm like,
The whole
I
series
don't
of
understand it.
Warriors Cool Runnings was, like I said, some of the worst defense I've ever seen. And Cool Runnings, when we played them, the Jungle played them earlier in the year, I left the field saying that's one of the cleanest teams I've ever seen. They
Yeah.
don't miss a play, they don't make an error, they don't make mistakes, and that's a recipe for success. But now we get to the playoffs and they're totally a shell of what I saw them
I
as.
mean, you look at their regular season numbers, and they scored 70 runs in the 70s, and they gave up in the 50s. No pitcher is dominant enough on its own to give up runs in the 50s. That shows you they were a great defensive team.
Right.
And you know what? They were an okay offensive team. So, the fact that they are able to score a bunch of runs against us in the semifinals in 2 games and 2 wins, I think is the outlier just to, how we were as a team and how our pitching was and how our defense was. But I think going into the World Series, they had to know we got to clean up the defense and play our game. And our game is, keeping the games tight. And you look at a lot of the runs scored, maybe the early runs that the Rays got were from their heart, JT, Max Sutton, Hank, and Greenberg. But those late runs that they got were from the bottom of the order, the bottom to middle of the order, and also aided by so many errors and miscues that, and walks. You know what? Edmond's got to look in the mirror. I mean, I don't know if the zone was really as tight as it seemed from the sidelines, but, Eddie Harari walked guys all season, and, it didn't seem surprising. But when Edmond started to lose the zone and walk guys, I don't think he walked one guy in our series, maybe 1 or 2. So, we know Carlo has a tight zone, but you got to figure it out and throw strikes because you can't allow free runners, especially when your team's not making plays.
Another thing about Edmond and Eddie, I was looking at these stats just a few minutes ago. I was very surprised. Mundo gave up 24 hits. Eddie gave up 23 hits. Can't get closer than that. Mundo, 7 walks. Eddie, 11 walks.
Wow.
Cool Runnings had more base runners than the Rays.
Wow.
But the Rays cashed in. The Rays have the power that Cool Runnings doesn't have.
Well,
they
if you
get
look
the
at that,
big hit.
in the first game, Cool Runnings had bases loaded 3 times and didn't score.
They had bases loaded on walks in the first
So in
inning.
the first inning, they had bases loaded and they hit into a double play.
Yeah,
They didn't get a
Gabe
run.
hit into
Correct.
a big
Then
double
then
play.
after they scored, they had the bases loaded. They didn't score. And
Yes.
then late in the game, they had the bases loaded and they didn't score. Where outs could have gave them runs at a certain
Correct.
point. You got to take those runs, and you got to put the ball in play and put the pressure on the defense because. You know what? Max Sutton didn't make a lot of plays. Al Zolta had a couple of balls go through his legs.
Yeah.
Their defense was far from perfect. I know Joey Cohen made a big play with the bases loaded,
Yeah.
getting the force out of
Third.
third, and Citron made a great catch because he
The
got
runner
the
was
extra
in the way.
hop. He went down for it, and he gunned it because he had to. And Citron stretched nicely to make a play. That was a big play in the game. There was also one other play. Hate to bring it up, but the missed call by the first base umpire on a Mickey Towell,
That was a missed call.
and then they scored
Yes.
runs in that inning,
Yes.
and also, if there's one less out, the base is loaded.
Right,
That
could
that
be
was
even
their
bigger.
different game. But it's just a huge call, and to the naked eye, it looked safe, and then upon replay, it was
yeah,
safe.
Yeah, he was safe. I thought he was safe from across the field.
Yeah, looked safe.
But, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it may happen
Yeah.
again. Yeah, you have an umpire 5 feet away from every base, and it's still going to happen. So
Right, it wasn't blatantly safe. It was close.
And I going back to the Warriors for a second, pre-game we were talking and we said, you got to win the game by 4 or 5 runs. Because if you're leaving it up to one game, one inning, one hit, one call,
Anything
it could
could
go
happen.
against you.
Yeah, anything could
It
happen.
could go against you, it could go for you, but you can't, that's the deal that you play when you're in these high pressure games and you're, behind 2 runs. you put yourself into a play where the call goes against you, and now we're talking about it on Tuesday morning. So they got to flush it. They got to come back ready to play, and I think the format helps them for 3 standalone games going forward, and they got to take it one at a time.
Now, why does it help them? I've heard a lot of people say this, that if Dano has any chance at coming back, at least he has the standalone games. Why is that better than 2 when you could just get a team down in the dumps and just bam?
It's much harder to sweep. And
I think it's much harder to sweep, but in the past, in the history of this league, we've seen 3 games in a day.
Three!
But I think, that comes with, that's just an amazing thing that it has been. I don't think we've had this format past the last 2 years. It's always been
We've
one
never had this
standalone on Friday and then 2 on Sunday, and you can sweep, but it's much harder to sweep. I think it's just harder to sweep. Even if you win, we were up 2-0. U.S. Marshals insane. We lost game 3 on a Friday. We lost game 4, and then we won game 5. So it's just hard. It's hard to sweep. Things happen in a 3-hour day of baseball. If you're just playing an hour and a half and you get the momentum on your side, and you give their other team more to think about it. You win this game on Friday, and now it's starting to fester.
From this point, you could basically replay the show from last year where you had a ton of great points saying, like, if they just win, and then Sunday afternoon they have the whole day to think about it. What do you eat? You don't usually eat before the game, and you're going back and forth.
It's funny that the 2 years we have this format, it's 2-0 in the World Series, and we may get another sweep.
Can't get it.
Let me ask you, if going just the last 2 years comparing, the way that Mo Haber's team lost game 2 last year, game 1 they lost, game 2 they had and they lost.
Yeah.
And that's sitting on them versus, Cool Runnings. 2 tough games.
They also lost Yedid in that game.
Yeah, that was the big blow.
In my eyes, that was over. There was no, if you win game 3, they're going to win game 4. To me, Yedid's out. They lost a crushing game. Shake and Bake with Nate B on the mound is going to win a game somewhere.
And they played a tough game in that game 3. Comes down to a couple of plays at the end and a play at the plate, and definitely they didn't let it go away from them.
How could I forget?
They showed up in game 3. They played a team that was better and more clutch. But I think that you need the snowball to start rolling. You got to figure out a way to win game 3 to put the pressure. Right? No matter what, you're playing that game 3 with house money, and that allows you to throw the ball home, up a couple of runs, and make all those plays. They got to come out. They got to win game 3 and then see what happens.
So
again, if you don't win game 3, it's all for naught.
But it's easy for a guy like Dano to tell his team, hey, just win Friday, and then you refocus and win Sunday.
I'll tell you, it's easy to say just win Friday, but you're squeezing that bat tight in the first couple innings. No team needs to get out to a lead more than Cool Runnings. Because both of these games, they're down and they're down early. And I think that's the Rays game. I mean, who foresaw, Al Zolta coming through the way he came through? We know he's been clutch, but the game sealing hits the last 2 games, really impressive.
Dude, we were in a secure location in Brooklyn with the whiteboard.
Yeah.
And we said about JT's team, you did great, and then you just stopped drafting and whatever. Look at his last 4 picks. I looked it up just now. Al Zolta, 67. Elliot Mann, 78. The guy hit a home run against Nate B. These are postseason guys. Mo Gindy, 83, doing his job at the catcher and running. And then Raw Dog, 94. So those 3 winning guys that got game-winning hits, basically, and then Mo G in the middle there. He actually had a draft at the end, looking back now, that is winning him the postseason.
It's nuts because in the Never Again series, from my point of view, it looked like the bottom of the lineup was carrying JT. And from the Circle of Trust series, from Never Again all the way through Circle of Trust, it looked like the bottom of the lineup was really doing the bulk of the work. Raw Dog was getting on. Even Al Zolta was getting on. Elliot Mann was getting on. Not just the homer. He had a lot of hits in those 2 series.
He had good at bats.
And it didn't look like Joe G or Hank. They're doing their regular thing. But I'm talking, elevating their game. Didn't look like they were doing much. Now they got them to the World Series, the bottom of the lineup, and you see guys like JT, Hank, and Joe G are taking over. They're loading the bags. and Max Sutton and Alzi are coming through. That's how this team was built. That's how they're, coming to play now. They're lucky that they skated by until the World Series without their top guys carrying them, and now here they are. They're just exploding. They're hot. Everything's rolling for them.
This guy Hank is unbelievable. Every ball goes very, very, very far.
Yeah.
Every one.
Even that out to DK was flung. It didn't even look like he hit it well. Landed at the fence.
I mean,
But the key is, I mean, you can't let them get up in spots that they're able to hurt you, and you gotta make outs when you have it. Just, I mean, we'll fast forward just to a quick, and then we'll go through the games of the game 2. It's 4-4. You just battled your butt off to tie the game, and JT hits a ground ball to the pitcher with an out, and Henry doesn't make the play.
Yeah.
And then, the next guy, Joe G, they get a ground ball to the pitcher. He makes it out. He gets a force at second. But you know what? Hank comes through with the hit, and then Max gets a hit with 2 outs. Max shouldn't even be up. If you get through that hard of the lineup, then you have the momentum. Instead, Max gets a hit. You're down 5-4. Al Zolta hits a 3-run homer. You're down 8-4. The game's over.
And the cool runnings that I thought would never allow Max Sutton to get up.
Right.
I
Never.
thought they were a lockdown, shutdown team. They've totally done a
first
180
of all,
here.
Jig Cone is away now. He's not going to be at games 3 and 4 if necessary.
Yep.
So they're down a second baseman. I don't know what they're going to do.
I think
Mickey,
Dano goes to second.
yeah,
Mike
Dano
C
goes to
behind
second,
him.
and
exactly.
Mike C goes to
That's
catcher.
it. That's
They
it.
got no
Okay,
other
fine.
options.
They have to, but still.
I mean, I don't know what Irving Fowles didn't play the field all
All
year.
year,
He's still hobbling a little bit.
Still
But I think
hobbling.
Dano's an infielder. Dano's got to feel comfortable. My one thing would be if Dano feels more comfortable at third and moving Henry to a position at second to make more
Henry
range.
at short center, Leo
Leo
at
at
second.
second.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you
just too
have
much.
guys. But I mean, it is
Too
too much,
much.
but they're not
Too
making
much.
the plays where they are now. So
No
what's the
one is
difference?
making a
But
play.
they got here
It's
by
too much.
making
Maybe
the
Leo
plays.
needs to move a little bit.
They have to. What Leo Pachotto did to them in that game 2 was criminal. It was
Crazy.
he couldn't catch the ball.
Yeah, I can't watch the highlights. I'm saying he made the catch on my line drive. I hit 110 miles an hour off the
Exactly.
bat. and
Exactly.
I can't
Over
catch
here.
He can't catch a flip from the
It's
shortstop.
unbelievable. Mickey at first, no one's asking you to make a diving stop. Keith Hernandez, nobody.
Right.
Catch the ball when they throw it to you, and the high pop is like you throw your kindergarten kid,
Yeah, even Farka on that Hank home
Farka.
run. He's got to make that play.
Farka's gotta
I
catch
know
that.
he's hobbled, and he obviously pulled his hamstring. Clearly hurt, but it's a time where you give him the pass, you give him the excuse because he's hurt. But even if you give him that, you can't get that game back. You can't get the whole run. That's it. It's 2-0
the
in the
thing
series
is,
now.
of course
so.
he's hurt. Otherwise, he catches that. But if you can't catch that, you can't play center.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I say
Yeah.
if you know you're that hurt, and I had a hamstring injury this year, mine was much worse. I mean, it was debilitating. I couldn't move. He's still scoring on a base hit from second base after he hits the ball down the line. He's moving decently. So I don't know how it felt, and but baseball's a game of stop and start, and that's where the hamstring continues to
Right,
pull.
the groin,
You have a
the
guy like DK who, gap to gap is the hardest part of center field. It's not catching the ball that's right to you. It's what makes the great center fielder is you have to go to right center all the way to left center. And, DK is overqualified for left field. But if you only have to go one way, I think it might have been easier to see Farka move to left and DK move to center. And then, hey, the Hank ball that was the home run early. I think if another center fielder's there, even Farka said he would have caught it if he's healthy.
I know.
So
but like you said, you don't get that game back.
Yeah,
I was
you
even
can't make
saying
the excuse. I mean, you
No,
can
but I don't
make
even
it,
know if he's
but
going to be ready
it
for
doesn't do
Friday.
anything.
Right.
These things don't heal
I
so
would even
easily
say-
when you're ready for Friday because he was hurt in our game.
Right.
In our game, I asked him. I mean, we were losing by 100, but he's not running the bases like he's running. I said,
No.
"Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm not. It's not feeling
Not
good."
okay.
So how do you go in 2
Farka
days
actually
later?
had a hamstring injury from before the season. I wonder if it's the same one, same injury. He told me before the season he was dealing with it, so maybe it's coming
whatever
around
it was,
now. I don't know.
it only got worse on that play when you
Yeah.
saw him throw his glove.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, it got worse. So the one game will help him. One game at a time will definitely help that, I would think. But if he can't even run, you could even put him on first and put Leo P in the outfield if you had to. I'm just thinking you can't have long fly balls
So you
land.
can't have an outfielder that can run. I mean,
You
it depends.
can't.
That's the position. So yes, I mean,
It's crazy. It's It's reminding me a little bit of last year now. I know it's obviously a little different, but, we were up 2-0. Moshiach was hobbled, and Maxi Deed was out, and all these questions. What do you do? Who do you get? We're starting to ask those same questions now. Jig Cohn's out. Farka's hurt. DK's already hurt.
DK's hurt, yeah.
I'm hearing Gabe is hurt. I don't know if those rumors are true. I obviously hope not, but you're hearing all these things now. You're starting to question if they could overcome it. You're worried about the series. They need to win a game here.
Yeah.
They need to win a game. They do get a big break, a rookie, just classic rookie stuff, and I don't know how they can't convince him to stay. You guys are going to fall off your chair. You may walk off the show. You're going to say, well, I might give it up my hour when I give you this news.
Oh, man.
No, looking at the two of you, you guys wouldn't do this in a billion years.
I heard the news.
Eric Citron
it got
is
leaked.
going to Montreal for a bachelor party.
Oh my
A bachelor
gosh.
party.
You know, it's funny. It's
Not a
always
bar
been,
mitzvah.
no, but it's also the YMSL classic joke from years past when I was coming in that the guys were missing games for bachelor parties,
Yes.
and whether they really were or they weren't or whatever. But
Correct.
that's always been a thing
Bachelor
of bachelor
party. Always. This is
yeah,
their
it's
bachelor party. Games
ridiculous.
3
No,
and
it's
4.
Absurd.
I mean,
Absurd.
Oh, because he's missing Friday and Sunday.
yeah. So now, what do you do at the guy played excellent at
Oh
third
my
in the
God.
World Series.
Well, JT didn't think he had a second baseman, and he had one. And
Right.
maybe
The only answer is you
Elliot
come
Mann
back.
comes out and plays
No,
third
you-
base and saves the season.
I think you move Max Sutton.
Max goes to third,
Which
and
is not
then
great.
Their bench is Raw Dog and Elliot Mann. Elliot Mann has to play short center. JT told me he could play the infield.
No, but wait, who's their right fielder?
JT,
Who's their left fielder?
Joe Chiro, and Joe G. Those guys are not moving.
I know, but Elliot Mann's an outfielder and he has a lot of speed. I know he's not,
You
it's
put
about
JT
who do you
in
trust?
center, Joe Greenberg at
I don't know.
short
Max
center.
has been shaky on the throws.
Yes,
and
he
moving in
has.
from short center to third just
No,
makes
but
it more
third,
shaky.
I don't find third
And
base.
Fisher made a ton of plays this week. He played great.
Like, the guy was going down to a knee and
He made some
tossing it.
great plays. I mean, hey, they're up 2-0.
They
It's
have
the
the
best
margin.
situation
Yeah.
for him to be leaving, but it opens the door for cool runnings if they can get their stuff together, and they got their own problems to deal with, so they can't take anything for granted
Yeah.
or feel even good about the fact that he's leaving. They got to win
First
games.
of all, if Eric Citron's not canceling this trip,
Yeah, maybe he's
I
canceling.
don't know what the
I don't
hell
think he's going.
you are doing.
I don't think he's going.
That's a rookie just not knowing what this league is about.
Especially
Right.
Montreal is a trip that you'll go on 100 times in your life. I've been to
You
Montreal.
could drive there.
I've been to
driven there.
Montreal 12,
Yes.
13 times. So it's not we're not going to the Maldives where it's a once in a lifetime experience. And it's not like my in-laws are having a problem with it, where it's not Marty Antoby's mother-in-law making them
No
stay home.
in-laws.
Also,
Yeah.
it's not Jig Cohn whose in-laws are taking him away. And what could you possibly say? He's
Right.
electing to go on a
I
bachelor
even have a problem
party.
with that, but-
Whatever. That's a
Yeah, I
whole
hear
other
you.
conversation. You can't be missing
I hear
games
you.
in July. You can't plan anything in July.
No.
And then once
August.
once it comes down, you
even
want to
late
plan
July,
it,
you
and
could.
then once
Listen.
it comes down to it, you got to skip it. I'm sorry.
One
Yeah.
year, we're going to have a lot of rain and a lot of holidays, and the World Series isn't going to happen until August. It's going to happen eventually. And that year, if someone has to go because they planned something and the wife wants to
Different.
destroy them,
Different
it's different.
situation.
But July 2nd is today.
And you know what? I'm okay with
Why
him
would you even
committing.
go away on July 4th weekend? Why,
Right.
I'm
also,
aside
but,
from softball.
no, but I'm okay committing to a country that doesn't celebrate July 4th.
Yeah.
Canada, it's like a regular week.
Right.
It's for them. It's nothing special. You're telling me go to Nashville. It's
Right.
probably
Or
crazy.
go for Canada
Go to
Day
Montreal.
last week.
Right.
Go for
You know?
Canada
You know, the
Day.
Expos are all here. I'm
Right,
here.
right.
Sonny
Yeah.
Salem is here.
I don't think he goes. I think at the end of the day, his father's a all-time YMSL
All
gamer.
time.
I think
The father told me
I'm
he's coming.
Right,
The father will be here.
But I'm
The father
okay.
can't
I'm
play
okay.
third.
I'm okay with him booking it because only 2 teams make it. But once you actually get there, I don't think there's a difference if it's 1-1, down 0-2, or up 2-0. You got to close it out. You got to, 11 guys are relying on you. You made a commitment to 11 guys.
Joe G and Raw told him,
they'll
the
have
party
fun.
we will throw you is so much better than
I
the
wanna be at
actual
that
party
party.
you're going
By
to.
the way, you know what? If he doesn't go, I think it gives juice to the Rays. A commitment juice. The other guy's
Yeah.
second baseman's out in DuCap, and our third baseman showed up, and I think it does give them a little juice, before the game, and I think it, I'm interested to see what happens.
Here's
Hey,
the thing: when you keep getting younger and you get new blood in the league, they don't have they might not have the crazy passion that we do. They might not have
or
that.
forget the passion. I'm sure he's passionate, but it's the understanding of the commitment of this league. You don't just play and come and go. This is a
It's
commitment.
also the understanding of this is his first year he's in the World Series.
Right.
We noted it on the other show. I'm 11 years I haven't won.
Right.
I've been to the World Series a couple of times, but you don't always get to this position of up 2-0 in the World Series.
Right.
So, you know what?
Like
You're not there.
Roland this year checked in with his head up his butt the first few weeks. The guy was checked out thinking this is easy because he was a rookie. And that's Roland. He grew up. He was a scorekeeper.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I won my first 2 years in the league, and then I went an 8-year drought without even sniffing the World Series.
Yeah.
And it just goes by just like that, and you would kill to get it back, and, you know.
I don't even know how many years I played, but I only won once, and I was on so many bad teams that didn't even compete, made the playoffs, but we knew we had no shot. We had a couple of close chances, but you just never know. You just never know.
It's just straight up
Especially
unacceptable.
when you're a medium round pick, and at least in the beginning of his career, where you don't control anything.
Right.
You're not if you're a first round pick or, second round pick, you're controlling guys on the team. You're controlling who you're playing with. You get a vibe for guys. This guy's at the mercy of who knows. He could play the next 4 years with T.I. or Mo Haber and
quit
and just quit and never come back. Michael Edery played 1 year with David Gindy and never. That's it. He's
it happens.
daddy daycare.
Yeah, you know what? You see these guys like D. Simone came to the field. They're like, what happened to this guy? He used to play in the league. You see these guys that just fall off at some point. All right, anyway, so if he's not here, what do you do if you're the Rays? What do you decide?
It's tough. I think Elliott Mann's a lefty.
Yeah.
So it's tough for him to play anywhere in the infield.
Crazy.
I don't know if he can play the infield. I don't know.
JT was swearing to me that if Al Zolta couldn't handle second base earlier in the year, that he had Elliott Mann. I know he's a lefty. I know he's an
Juber's a
outfielder.
lefty.
No, but he can't play third as a lefty.
No.
You want to tell him put him at second as a lefty, and now we're gonna move
Al Zolta
to short center.
Max
They're
on
right
third
next
base.
to each other. I
That's
love
bad. It's
and
bad.
Al Zolta, for as many plays as many hits as he's gotten,
He's missed
he's
many
missed
plays.
a lot of.
Yeah.
Even
He made a couple of nice ones too. You got to give
he
him
did,
credit.
But it was
It's,
they were
boom or
up.
bust.
They were up 2 runs in game 2, 1 out, notody on, and DK hit a slow grounder to him that went through his legs.
Yeah. Right.
And then Pachotto lined out on a great play by Joe Chira.
Yes.
And then Zolta goes to right field. He's an outfielder, and he
left
drops
field,
left
right.
field, and he drops a fly ball. So and then El Saka gets a hit, and it's 4-all. So 2 plays that he could have made, that got them back into that game. He's not the best defensively.
It's like the
he's a
fantasy-
great hitter. He's hitting great, and he's clutch, and he's hitting with power, and he's driving in runs.
Yeah, 4
But,
for 6 with 6 ribbies, a homer,
you
and a
like to
triple.
It's like the fantasy football guy that could catch you a 100-yard touchdown, 3 of them, or he could go 0 for and not have a catch. Like he could either make this crazy play, or he's not going to make the routine
But
one.
it's also on Cool Runnings now. If this is their infield defense, you got to count the flyouts. If you hit more than 8 to 9 flyouts in this game, you deserve to lose. Because if they have a makeshift infield, their short center moves to third base and he's not throwing the ball great. They bring a guy off the bench to play second base. They move their second base to the short center. You got to hit the ball on the ground and let the chips fall where they may. But at least you did the right thing, because softball is hard and low. We've seen it even when the guys are there.
Yeah.
So now you're bringing in new guys. The onus is to hit the ball on the ground. Work a couple of walks from Eddie Harari, and you have a formula. If it works well on Friday, then what do the Rays do going into Sunday? It's got to work well on Friday.
Right, they can start panicking, doing.
We don't even have a guy.
drastic.
All of a sudden he's sending the private jet to, Montreal.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to get him back, because if
It
things
is
don't
drivable.
go well.
I've driven it. We missed the exit, me and my
it's
friends.
about 5 hours.
We
Yeah, but
ended
you're
up
telling
2
him
hours away.
what's he going for? I mean, you got the Saturday night leave is a tough leave.
Tough leave.
And then he's coming back. He's Benji Martyr status, inebriated on the field.
Inebriated, that's the
game.
word. I was
Inebriated.
thinking intoxicated. How'd you know I was thinking of that? When you mentioned it from years ago, I was thinking of him, and I was trying to remember the word. I interviewed you and your father so many times. Why did he was
Inebriated on the
Is
you
that
know,
your
he was-
team, that guy?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the word. That was the word.
We didn't put Bub
Inebriated.
in right field. We had Bub catching.
Okay. Dano. Yeah, he's hitting well. Irving Fowler's getting a couple of hits here or there. I think we all agree a game like this, you need your big boys to step up. Someone's got to go 3 for 4.
Rewatch
Someone.
the highlights. Farka didn't have a great day. His one big hit could have been an out that Al Zolta dropped. Didn't have a great day. Al Saka has been having a great playoffs. He's hitting 500 in the playoffs. Their ex-best hitter is Henry Shalom. Henry Shalom is having a great playoffs, hitting over 500, well over 500. But the difference between their semifinals and their finals is Gabe Abady. We could not get Gabe out.
1 for 6 with a single in the World Series.
And
big
double
spots.
play, yeah.
And big spots all day, big spots.
Listen,
So, hey, if they turn it around, and I also think, I know you've been giving them a lot of credit. Pachotto had a tough day offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
He's hitting under 300 in the playoffs. It gives the ability to lengthen the lineup, but,
No.
talking to me and Z,
No.
we always want to be up in the two-hole. We're
It's-
two-hole hitters.
So
I don't know why.
I openly hate the construction of the Cool Runnings line.
What would you do?
I would not do anything with it.
Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. Oh, you are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other